They heard me say it. I said that. If I was on there, I said that.
Turn around, please. You did not.
Shekinah, you stopped them, and I said the same. You asked me, do you think I'm happier? That you asked me the question, and I answered it. So why would you sit there and say that?
Because I am happy.
But why would you sit there and say that I ain't say that?
Because you didn't.
I think she's happy. Yes, I did.
It wasn't loud and clear.
Tell me. Yeah? Tell me what's going on right there. What's going on?
Atlanta woke up in chaos, a scandal so explosive it felt scripted for a Hollywood blockbuster, except this time, it was painfully real. Clifford T.I. Harris, once hailed as the King of the South, suddenly found himself at the center of a storm threatening to destroy everything he'd built. It began when leaked messages, medical files, and distorted voice notes flooded social media, spreading like wildfire. The claim that shook the city? That Shekinah Anderson was pregnant, and the man allegedly responsible wasn't some mystery. It was T.I. himself. Within hours, timelines went up in flames. Hashtags dominated every feed. Hashtag SHEKINAH pregnant. Hashtag DNA for T. Hashtag justice for Tiny. For fans who had stood by Tiny through years of rumors, this wasn't gossip anymore. It was heartbreak in real time. Then came the moment that silenced the internet. Tiny appeared before cameras, eyes red, voice trembling, but fire in her tone. Under flashing lights, she said, "I want a DNA test. I deserve the truth. My family deserves the truth." Those words changed everything. In that instant, the scandal stopped being speculation and became reality. Tiny's tearful breakdown, clutching tissues, trembling but strong, became the face of every woman betrayed by the one she trusted most.
You said that.
Let me ask somebody who know me for real, right? Who really know me.
Man, I'm gonna tell you what you want to hear.
I think you happy.
Do you think I'm like from
What she got?
I think she's happy. I think she's happy.
The video ain't really the issue. The video being posted up on social media is the issue. If someone would have sent her that video privately, she and I would have had one conversation about it, and it would have been over.
Tiny was no longer just a reality star or R&B icon in that moment. She became a living reflection of every woman who's ever been betrayed, every promise that's ever been broken, every family torn apart by secrets. The internet couldn't look away, not because they wanted drama, but because her pain felt painfully real. Then came the revelation that turned whispers into breaking news. An alleged medical document linked to Shaw hit the web, and one chilling detail sent shockwaves across the industry. The conception date aligned perfectly with T.I.'s stay at an Atlanta hotel. That one coincidence was enough to freeze everyone in disbelief. This wasn't rumor anymore. It was evidence. Bloggers paused mid-sentence, journalists scrambled, and fans reacted like they just watched a dynasty crumble in real time. Reports claimed Tiny fainted after a tense confrontation at home. While T.I.'s Instagram went dark, no posts, no statements, just silence. And that silence spoke louder than any denial could. But the fire didn't stop there. A whistleblower dropped screenshots, messages allegedly from Shaw, confessing that if the DNA results surfaced, T.I. would lose it all: his marriage, his legacy, his empire. The scandal had officially become a countdown. Social media split into chaos. Some accused Shekinah of destroying a home. Others said she was trapped in a deadly love triangle. But one truth remained: the Harris empire was collapsing in plain sight. Then came the grand stage, the courtroom, hip-hop's most public heartbreak. Paparazzi swarmed the steps, fans held justice for Tiny signs, and the world watched like it was a season finale. Inside, tension thick in the air. Tiny sat beside her attorneys, clutching tissues, pale but strong. Shekinah entered quietly, torn and distant, and then walked in T.I., once a king, now a man stripped of his crown. When the judge read the case, Tiny Harris versus Clifford Harris and Shekinah Anderson, DNA and betrayal, gasps echoed through the room. This wasn't gossip anymore. It was betrayal written into legal history. As evidence rolled out, reporters scribbled, cameras clicked, and the room held its breath. Then came the recording, a man's voice, allegedly T.I.'s, whispering, Don't worry, Sha, if this gets out, I'll take care of Tiny. Just trust me. The silence that followed was deafening. Tiny's hands shook, her body weak. Through tears, she stood and cried out, "You destroyed me. You destroyed our family." Moments later, she collapsed into her daughter's arms, a queen shattered by her own king. Cameras captured it all, the image that would circle the globe. Outside, the streets were chaos. Protesters shouted, "DNA doesn't lie," while others hurled insults at Shekinah. Police struggled to hold back the furious crowd as emotions boiled over. News anchors called it the biggest betrayal hip-hop had ever witnessed. TikTok overflowed with crying fans, while meme pages crowned T.I. the fallen king. Then came the moment that shattered what little hope was left, the DNA results. The clerk's voice shook as he read aloud, "Clifford Harris, publicly known as T.I., is confirmed to be the biological father of Shaw Anderson's child with 99.9% certainty." The courtroom exploded. Tiny's scream pierced the silence as she collapsed to the floor. "Why, Clifford? Why would you do this to me, to us?" Shekinah cried out too, "I never wanted this. He told me he'd leave her." The judge's gavel slammed again and again, but it couldn't quiet the chaos. Within moments, social media went nuclear. Hashtag DNA bombshell, hashtag tiny broken, hashtag cancel T dominated every feed. News outlets ran back-to-back coverage. Late-night hosts joked, while hip-hop insiders called it the fall of a legend. But just when people thought the scandal couldn't go any deeper, another leak hit. A clip allegedly showed T.I. laughing with friends, bragging, "Tiny ain't going nowhere. She can cry, she can sue. She'll always need me." Shaw? She was just part of the game. The backlash was instant. The internet turned on him, labeling him a manipulator, a narcissist, a king who mocked his own queen. Sponsors pulled out. His label released a cold statement, "We are currently reviewing our partnership with Clifford Harris," and just like that, the empire he built on pride and power began to crumble overnight. Meanwhile, Tiny emerged as the story's tragic heroine, the woman who refused to stay broken. Her public statement stunned everyone. "I never thought I'd see the day my family name would be dragged through the dirt. But I will rise. I will fight. And I'll make sure my children know the truth about the man who tore our home apart." Her words became a movement. Fans cried, reposted, and flooded her page with love. Outside her home, supporters held signs calling her a queen reborn from ashes in their eyes. She wasn't just T.I.'s wife anymore. She was the face of strength after betrayal. But as Tiny rose, Shekinah's world fell apart. Her inbox overflowed with threats. Protesters camped outside her house, chanting her name with hate. Every photo she posted was met with venom. On a tearful Instagram live, she broke down. "I didn't destroy their family. He did. He said he loved me. He promised he'd leave Tiny. Now I'm the one being punished. I can't even step outside without being called a monster." But the internet wasn't forgiving. To the public, Shekinah was already branded. The other woman, the homewrecker, the one who shattered a dynasty. Whether she was a victim or a villain no longer mattered. The court of public opinion had delivered its verdict. Then came the final blow, the divorce. Tiny officially filed to end her marriage, demanding full custody of her children, half of T.I.'s empire, and compensation for years of emotional damage. The leaked filings accused him of repeated infidelity, public humiliation, and lasting psychological harm. Paparazzi photos captured Tiny leaving the courthouse, dark glasses hiding her tears, her children close by. Tabloids splashed the headline across every front page. Tiny ends it all. DNA bombshell destroys the Harris legacy. By nightfall, the Harris empire was rubble. T.I. sat alone in silence. While Tiny was hailed as the queen who survived the storm, but the scandal wouldn't die. New reports claimed T.I. had lost more than $30 million in brand deals. That Tiny was quietly penning a tell-all memoir, and that Shekinah was preparing to leave Atlanta for good, a dynasty once built on music. Fame and family pride had collapsed into a public tragedy. The world watched like it was the season finale of a reality series, and they couldn't look away. As the dust began to settle, when truth cut through the noise, this wasn't just a scandal. It was the implosion of an empire. T.I., once the king of the South, now sat dethroned, stripped of loyalty, respect, and power. The same streets that once praised him now whispered about his fall. Endorsements vanished, allies disappeared, and the empire he built crumbled into echoes of disgrace. Tiny's story, however, became something far greater. She was no longer defined by her husband's fame. She became a living symbol of survival. The queen who turned heartbreak into strength. Everywhere she went, cameras followed, not to ridicule, but to revere. Fans held signs calling her a warrior reborn, shedding tears of pride instead of pity. Tiny's pain had transformed into purpose. The world wasn't watching her fall anymore, they were watching her rise. Meanwhile, Shekinah drifted into isolation. Her name became untouchable. Protesters still gathered outside her home, chanting accusations. Online, her inbox overflowed with venom. During another tearful livestream, she confessed, "He told me he loved me. He said he'd leave Tiny. Now I'm the one paying for everything." But no matter how much she cried, the internet had already made its judgment. She was the villain of the story. To many, she wasn't a casualty, she was the spark that set everything on fire. Whether that was fair or not didn't matter anymore. Her name was scorched into infamy. Insiders whispered she was preparing to disappear from Atlanta entirely, maybe even change her identity to escape the storm that haunted her. In one moment of raw honesty, she admitted, "I can't walk down the street without someone spitting at me or calling me a monster." And just like that, her story faded from the spotlight, leaving behind nothing but ruin. Tiny, however, moved with quiet strategy. The divorce was only the beginning. She demanded her children, her share of the empire, and something far more valuable, her voice. Rumors swirled that she was working on a tell-all memoir, a book said to expose not just the affair, but decades of buried secrets and betrayals behind the Harris name. Fans waited, breath held. Talk shows, podcasts, and blogs fought for interviews. Every word Tiny spoke became headline gold. She had evolved from the broken wife into a woman rewriting her own legacy, the tragic queen who rose from ashes and took back her crown. The quieter T.I. stayed, the louder Tiny's voice became. Her truth drowned out his silence, reshaping public opinion entirely. She was now the survivor, and he, the architect of his own downfall. Meanwhile, T.I. faced one of hip-hop's steepest descents from grace. Reports claimed he lost nearly $30 million in sponsorships, endorsements, and deals. His label distanced itself, brands pulled back, and his streaming numbers dropped overnight. Online, his name became synonymous with betrayal, painted as a manipulator, a narcissist, a man who destroyed his own kingdom. That leaked video of him mocking Tiny resurfaced over and over, looping endlessly as proof of his arrogance. Every attempt to stay quiet only made things worse. Another leak, another rumor, another wound. The silence that once symbolized power now screamed guilt. Alone in his mansion, surrounded by threats and regret, T.I. became a shadow of the king he once was. His empire gone, his crown shattered. But what made this story truly haunting wasn't just the betrayal itself, it was how deeply it gripped the culture. Talk shows debated if this was hip-hop's greatest downfall. Fans clashed online. Some pleaded for forgiveness, others demanded accountability. Even celebrities couldn't resist weighing in. Some rallied behind Tiny, while others kept their distance. Afraid to be scorched by the fire, the Harris family, once admired for their unity, their music, and their love story, had turned into a cautionary tale. Proof that even the most glamorous dynasties can crumble when built on deceit. Tiny's tears became the anthem of every woman who'd ever been betrayed. Shekinah's collapse served as a warning that playing the other woman comes with a price. And T.I.'s downfall showed the world how pride and lies can dismantle even the strongest of legacies. By the end, even Atlanta felt different. The same city that once crowned T.I. as its king now spoke his name in hushed tones. The throne sat empty. The dynasty lay in ruins. Tiny rose from the ashes as a legend in her own right, a queen who rebuilt herself from heartbreak. Shekinah faded into silence, burdened by the choices that cost her everything. And I was left alone, a fallen monarch haunted by the ghosts of his own empire. The DNA test hadn't just revealed the truth, it detonated it, leaving no one untouched. As the camera lingers on Tiny's tear-streaked face one last time, one thing becomes painfully clear: this wasn't just a scandal. It was betrayal in its purest form, the kind that leaves permanent scars. And now, after watching an empire collapse before our eyes, only one question remains. Can anything rise from these ashes? Or has the Harris legacy been reduced to smoke and memory forever? Because sometimes the truth doesn't set you free, it burns everything around you. Until there's nothing left to save, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because this story is far from over.